Oh, hey, didn't see you there. I have to admit, I am chronically online, so my inspiration comes from far and wide, just all over the depths of the internet. And yesterday, I happened to come across this meme, and it really spoke to me because I've been watching a ton of Studio Ghibli lately, and I grew up with Family Guy, so my mind was immediately like, I need to make a crossover with this. I kind of thought it'd be weird and silly and fun and, I don't know, maybe a little cursed. I want to do the Family Guy characters as if they were designed by the artists at Studio Ghibli. Translating them into 3D might be a little bit difficult. I think I'm up for the task of sculpting them. So with the help of AI, I'm going to generate some images of these two fandoms crossed over and see if that gives me any more inspiration for what I'm gonna be doing. I have some ideas, which I'm gonna plug into the keywords. I really don't know where I'm going with this yet, so let's take a look at some images and go from there. Okay, so I have generated an entire album of questionable images. My original idea was to make Peter kind of a version of Totoro, and then Lois I wanna do as San from Princess Mononoke. And then Stewie, I want to turn him into a little Kodama, the little like forest sprites from Princess Mononoke as well. And for Meg, I'm wanting to do some version of like a crone kind of look, like Yubaba from Spirited Away. The thought there is that, you know, Meg is the butt of all jokes and she's hideous to everyone, so that works there. And then for Chris, I'm wanting to do, since he's blonde, like a version of a fat Howl from Howl's Moving Castle. And then for Brian, I'm gonna use one of these like AI generated images. And some of these backgrounds that were generated are just like so awesome. I was thinking if I feel up to it, or if I like give myself enough time, of maybe doing a background. There's one in here that I really liked. This background I thought was kind of perfect for like a little display. Yeah, some of these are kind of hilarious. I think maybe I'll put some of them on my Instagram to show you. That's adorable, and I love that. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna start sketching up some stuff. Okay, so I made some really ugly sketches that you don't really need to see, and I'm just gonna start with the Family Guy himself, Totoro. I just lumped a bunch of clay together and got to it. For the most part, he's going to look a lot like Totoro, but I want to give him those quintessential Peter characteristics like, I don't know, the ball sack chin, the wide grin, the bulbous nose. And those little arrow markings Totoro has, I'll place them where Peter's shirt buttons are. Then a coat of rubbing alcohol and to the oven for a first bake. Once he's out, I make his lower half. I waited until after the first bake for this so the full thing wouldn't collapse onto itself while sculpting. Oh, and then of course I need to give him some hair to make him look a bit more like Peter. And then bake again. Now is Meg. I'm giving her the whole Yubaba treatment of huge wrinkly head with exaggerated features. This whole process was just mushing clay worms onto the high parts of her face and then mushing them around until they looked right. I don't know. I wish I could give you a better explanation. Off to the oven with you, witch. And then another big fat snake for her hair. I wanted to give her Yubaba's coif, but with Meg's ubiquitous pink cap on top of that. So I made her a little cap. And then I gave her a kimono because honestly, it just seemed easier than the other options. And I liked one of the AI images that gave her a pink kimono, so here we are. Now for our little football-headed Kodama Stewie. This was by far the simplest sculpt in this set, which the design of was definitely influenced by my laziness. But honestly, I love how he turned out. I love the Kodama in Princess Mononoke, and I think this turned out really cute. Now, I'm not taking any specific Ghibli inspiration for Brian, just using one of the AI images. One that really stuck with me as true to the style. Just cute and little and chubby and anime doggish. Then I used some red and yellow clay to make his collar so it'd be more vibrant like animation, and so I wouldn't have to paint it. Win-win. And now for our femme fatale, Princess Lois. I started by just sculpting a lanky female form, adding some curves where Lois has them. Then I made her strangely angular head and pointy nose. I have to admit, it was really difficult to translate her features into 3D, making them recognizable. It's fine. Then I put a disc of orange clay for her hair. And then I used a sheet of teal to be the underdress, using Lois's colors but sculpting Princess Mononoke's clothing. Also, her arm fell off at some point. Nothing a bit of super glue can't fix though, right? For her blade, I baked a little sheet of clay and then cut out the shape of a kitchen knife to later glue onto the little skewer. And then the fur cape, I just took a hunk of clay, mushed it around, and poked it with a clay tool to make it look fluffy. And on to our thick but vain sorcerer, Howl / Chris. I made the body of a fertility idol, complete with Chris's thick middle section and stocky limbs. Then made the little cartoon hands and then started on his head. I used some bright yellow clay for the hair, and then I used a clay tool to cut out the shape of the face framing tendrils. And for his ruffly shirt, I gathered a flatworm of clay, kind of like I would do with fabric. And then I made shoes, but don't look at them. I can't sculpt shoes for some reason. some simple black pants, a few shirt wrinkles, then off to bake again. I also made the jacket as if I were making it out of fabric. Though the jacket was kind of a disaster, I rolled it out too thin because I was lacking in enough blue clay, so whoops. And now for the best worst part, painting. I gave both Stewie and Brian a coat of white just to clean up the look of the surface of the clay. During which, at some point, I broke off Brian's tail. A simple face for Stewie. And a simple face for Brian. Totoro is mostly getting the same paint job as the OG Totoro. Beige tummy and a gray body. Once the base coat was dry, I gave it a darker gray wash. And then he got a lighter gray dry brush for the highlights. And then he's almost done. Meg likewise got a darker wash to bring out all the details. And of course, what would Meg be without her signature pink hat? And then for the Yubaba makeup treatment, I painted her kimono a slightly lighter pink matching Meg's t-shirt. And then a wash of pinky brown. And then, of course, some more dry brushing. Then to give the eyes some life, I gave all the sculpts some UV resin on the eyes. Fun fact, this is how I learned that Lois's cape and apron were glow in the dark. Very cool. So I gave Lois's hair a coat of slightly redder orange to tone down the orangeness. And then set about painting her face. It didn't turn out great. Maybe more Miranda sings than Lois, but what can I do about it now? Nothing. So I didn't do anything about it. Then Princess Mononoke's blood or face paint markings to really seal the cosplay that Lois is rocking here. Then the cape got a good wash and dry brush, as did the rest of her. I kind of regret painting Lois so much, it just kind of got sloppier as I kept on. Then a bit of Ghibli shine to the eyes. Cut out a little notch for the skewer and then glued it on. And that's all she wrote. Of course, good old Chris got a face wash. And then he got a coat of white shirt white. Don't look at the shoes. Like I said, the jacket was a disaster. I could have used actual fabric, but I was kind of just trying to do all clay for this. So don't come at me in the comments. Oh, and I forgot this part of Lois's necklace until now. Damn it. You can really tell where I didn't use the stronger Sculpey. And then was painting Howl's piercing blue eyes. And adding a bit of dimension to the hair. I decided to paint over the jacket with a blue that was more akin to Chris's shirt color. And then a bit more of the face wash for those stubborn breakouts, I guess. Then I painted red stripes on the shoes, but don't look at the shoes. Very last touch was to make Meg and Peter's glasses. I shaped the armature wire around a candle and used some jewelry pliers to bend them into all the curves and angles. And then I drilled into the sides of the head to poke the wires in. I did basically the exact same thing for Peter's glasses. And holy crap, isn't Totoro adorable with glasses? Okay, now for the very, very last part, the background. I took some cardboard, covered it in a layer of clay, and then baked it. For the backboard, I drew out the shape of some stones, just kind of haphazardly, and then I used a rock to give it some texture. And while I was doing this, I kind of forgot about the first piece that I had put in the oven, so... Your quesadilla is done. For the floor, I cut up some stir sticks and then just hot glued them on. Then I gave it a wash of various browns. I painted a kind of cartoony grassy area underneath. The backdrop got a bunch of stony grays and browns. And then also got a darker gray wash. Then I took some tacky glue and made like an organic shaped line upon which to glue a bunch of tiny petals to give the appearance of garland or something. I just happened to have these petals lying around, and I think they turned out really cool. Well, that's it. You ready to see the final product?